Greetings, Earthlings. Today is a very serious episode, but I'm going to crack lots of jokes about it as well. There is something that doesn't even exist that is trying to kill you. And I'm not being hyperbolic about it. It's called the ego. And people can get really flippant about the ego, but once you really know what the ego is trying to do to you, you will not mess with this shit anymore. That's why we wrote a whole book about it. You don't have to read this book for me to talk about this with you today. By the end of this episode, you should know that the ego wants you dead and the ego is trying to kill you. You don't have to take it from me. You can take it from other people who have recognized the ego in themselves. As I've said before, very few people will be able to do that. But maybe today I can help some of you who have not yet realized it, realize that this thing wants you dead. I don't know how much plainer I can be about it. So today on the Shaman Patrick show, we will talk about that because I don't want you to die. I really, really don't. So are you ready for this episode? Let's go.
He was once a storm in human form, sharp tongue, cold soul, heart worn and torn, living like a ghost who missed his grave till the spirit sang out and called him brave. He got rewired by the great unknown, heard the call like a dial tone to the bone. So pull up a chair, enjoy the glow. This is the Shaman Patrick Show.
I spent way too much time last week in the realm of the ego. For some reason, I thought it would be a good idea to make lots of content. Excuse me. Man, that kombucha. I decided it would be a good idea to make lots of content about a spiritual influencer, a druggie, a swinger. I thought that would be a good idea to go into that world for a little bit. It wasn't. I don't feel good. I'm a little under the weather because that shit makes you sick. When you get out of that stuff, when you get out of ego consciousness and you have this field of presence around you, and if things start fucking with that field, you start entertaining thoughts, it will make you sick. All disease starts in the mind. People can fight me on that, and they do. They will say, but Patrick, disease does not start in the mind. Don't be stupid. I got this disease because of this. I got this. But any disease that anybody has, trace it back to how it could have started in the mind. Just trace it back. That's all you have to do. You can take any disease, trace it back to a thought. Try it. Many people fight me. They want the surgeries. They want the medications. They want the procedures. They want the injections. They want the pharmaceuticals. Patrick, you don't understand. We need drugs. We need an ego. You don't understand. And I'm like, okay. You can't argue with that. People who argue with their limitations, people arguing for their disease, you can't argue with somebody who's arguing for their own right to die. You can't do that. They will drag you down with them. They will make you sick. And I'm sick today because I knew I shouldn't have done all that stuff. I knew I shouldn't have listened to all that stuff. But I'm glad I did because now I know. Now I know. When people start talking this cockamamie drug shit with me again, I'm like, no, I explored that fully. It's all just ego. It's all just spiritual ego. I know that because of my body's reaction to it. Made me sick. But, today we're going to talk about A Course in Miracles. And we're going to watch a video from some people. And the title of that video is The Ego Wants You Dead. That was an abrupt shift, wasn't it? But let's just get into it because this is such an important topic. Like on the cover of this book, it says, a searing takedown of humanity's greatest threat. It's not just humanity's greatest threat, it's your greatest threat. The ego wants you dead. So let's listen to this conversation from these two lovely ladies. This is A Course in Miracles. The channel is A Course in Miracles Daily Lessons Unpacked. And for those of you who think that you need an ego or that you still need an ego or that we don't understand, just listen to this video. Let me get you somewhere today. Let's get somewhere today. All right? I want to get somewhere today. Let's go.
Last quote, one sentence only from chapter 13, section 2. For the ego does want to kill you,
Mm-hmm.
and if you identify with it, you must believe its goal is yours.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm. So basically what they're saying, if you identify with the ego, understand that, just believe me, the ego wants you dead. And if that sounds preposterous to you, you might still be identified with the ego, because once you know what this motherfucking thing is capable of, you won't want to fuck with it anymore. You won't want to give it an inch. You don't want it anywhere near you. I mean, you don't worship it, you don't celebrate it, but if you identify with the ego, that's akin to you wanting to die yourself. It's just very simple. The thing about A Course in Miracles, is it is very simple when you can take the ego's cotton out of your ears. It's very simple, very clean. So unless you have put the ego in its place, it's a living death for you. You're lost in a world of illusions and you don't even know it, because you have confused the ego for what you really want. But the ego is going to do the worst thing for you. The false self is automatically, without question, going to do the very worst thing for you. Like get involved in crazy situations, sexual situation, drugs, violence, abusive relationships, and convince you that it's for your own good. Let's listen to some more of these ladies.
So just nothing will come of trying to love the ego.
That's
We
it.
don't demonize the ego either, because that gives it power, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's simply unreal. That's it.
Yeah. We need to be really honest. Pull back the cover and look at the inner workings of the ego thought system. Now, looking at it doesn't make it real. We just want to know what the operating system is. And while we aren't willing to accept the quotes that Jesus just, our sister just read the words from Jesus. This is
Now, A Course in Miracles is written by Jesus. Yes, that Jesus. And it sounds outlandish to people when they first hear it, but when you read it, it's like, oh, okay, because Jesus explains a lot more about this ego thing that has happened to our species, so to speak.
do we believe that Jesus is the author of the Course? Yes, we do. Can we cherry pick the Course and say some of it's true and some of it's not? No, he says either all of it's true or all of it's false. So as we're accepting that it's all true, he's asking us to look at what the ego thought system stands for, only because until you're willing to accept those statements, we will always waffle. We will sit on the fence. We will have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But we've got to tie everything that we're seeing down to the death wish. This belief that you are that is a wish for death. This whole thing is the thought of not life. This is the opposite of life.
So the ego thought system, the ego itself is against life. That's why it wants you dead. So if you know that the root of all human suffering comes from the ego, if you are suffering in any way, shape, or form today, it's because of the ego. Simple to understand, right? Not so easy, because that ego thought system is very pernicious. There's a lot of machinations in there. There's a lot of schemes to keep you from realizing this. Many schemes. The ego wants you drugged. The ego wants you numbed out. The ego wants you sick. The ego doesn't want you to be able to defend yourself, because just like I've been watching that Aubrey Marcus content, it wore me down. It made me sick. It made me tired. and made me irritable. So now I'm in a state where I don't feel so good. So I can't do my job of spreading love and joy because I don't feel good. So I kind of got back into the ego thought system just by entertaining that fucking nonsense from that clown Aubrey Marcus.
Death. This is the realm of death. It's like so uncomfortable, and surely you can't possibly mean that. But to believe that you are this limited, finite mortal of which God knows nothing about means that you're attempting to will apart from God. And that's an impossibility. The mind is trying to do something that cannot be done. It's sleeping. That's it. Nothing's real going on. We're not alive. We're not living. We've got to make that other choice. Yeah. So, while we still think something's okay here, there we are, sleeping, not living. Yeah.
Because most people are ruled by the ego. Most people live their lives in this sort of living death of the ego. And when you realize you have an ego, that's an opportunity for you to choose life, maybe for the first time in your life. So what was that fucking thing in me that caused me to drink myself to almost death? What was the thing that caused me to have sex with multiple partners? What was that thing, that death drive, that death wish that I have? What's the cause of homelessness? Almost said homeliness. That too. What's the cause of homelessness? Ego. What's the cause of homelessness? Ego. What's the cause of violence? Ego. It's all down to the ego. It's actually not that complicated when you get right down to it. It's not complicated at all. But see, the ego has layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And so when you recognize you have an ego that one time, which is the hardest, after that, there's these layers, conditioning, programming. I mean, Merrick and I wrote a whole book about it. And people still say, but Patrick, you don't understand. You don't understand. And I'll tell you, the only reason I understand is because the ego broke in me due to sustained, intense, never-ending suffering. And anybody who's had the ego break in them will tell you the exact same thing. Can't read it in a book. You can't read it. I mean, some people can have spontaneous spiritual awakenings, but how are you going to get rid of all that programming and that conditioning? Because if you don't have a roadmap out of it, if you don't have a way to end it in yourself and to ignore other people who are taken over by ego, it's going to be very difficult and very rough. That's why A Course in Miracles is so great, because the more you listen to it, the ego can't handle it. The reason people reject shit like A Course in Miracles and A New Earth is because the ego in them rejects it. It keeps them in this vicious cycle. It keeps them in this cycle of never really getting to the truth of it all. And many people who are in addictions, or people who can't stop fucking other people, or people who can't stop fucking over themselves, it's almost like a force or something is compelling them to do it. I mean, I used to have a thing for Nutter Butters. I used to eat Nutter Butters, entire packages of them at one sitting. I couldn't stop. I didn't understand this strange impulse. Like, even though the ego broke in me years ago, the patterning and the conditioning was still there. And that becomes your work, to understand that the ego wants you dead, and you got to get rid of all those programs, all that conditioning. You got to install new software. Otherwise, the ego is going to try to find some way to kill you, for real.
So to see it, just to look at it and to admit that this is what we're doing or trying to do, and make another choice. But to water it down only means that's exactly what the ego wants us to do, so that we'll just sort of do this pendulum forever in between the two.
Yeah. I am not a body, I am free.
Yeah.
Right. And thank you, sis, because another thing here, while we're talking.
Well, before she goes on to that, the ego confuses you with your body. You are not your body. You're more. Your body is a part of you, but the ego confuses people for their bodies. The ego confuses people for their physical forms. The ego also cannot stand God talk. The ego hates God. You notice how some spiritual influencers hardly ever talk about God? You ever notice this? The ego hates God talk. I would say atheists are ate up with ego. It's a huge fucking problem. It's a huge fucking problem. But for those of us who have stepped out of ego, it doesn't make us any better or any worse. It's like, oh, I realize that this thing was trying to kill me. What do you do when you realize that something or somebody is trying to kill you? You try to get away from that shit. You just try to get away from it, whatever it takes. Because for me, I realized getting rid of that programming and conditioning was a life or death situation. It is for everybody, but the truly sane people have realized that it's a life or death situation. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do about it? Because like they said, you can just go back and forth. Excuse me, your whole life. You can just go back and forth, not really taking care of this shit once and for all. Just back and forth.
Talking about the ego, which tends to push it outwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Catch ourselves from it. Is the fact is the number one guilt magnet after the body is a special relationship.
Yes.
You know that.
Now, special relationships. I'm going to lean into special relationships this week for sure. My Saturday special is going to be about Twin Flames universe. But the special relationship is another thing that can really fuck people up. So the ego wants you dead. Y'all got that? Can y'all write that down? Can you write down the ego wants you dead? And get that through your head? I'll say it again. If you truly knew this, you would not put up with any of this. But we need an ego, Patrick. You don't understand. We need an ego. We would die without an ego. Who do you think is fucking telling you that? The ego? The ego is going to tell you that you need an ego because the ego wants to kill you. The ego wants you dead. Yeah, so this is the insanity of it. You're essentially saying, I'd really love to date a serial killer. Can I find a man that will abuse me? You know what? I think I'm just going to wash my hair with razor blades today. That's how cuckoo it is. It is. Exactly.
Basically, and it's the pursuit of pleasure. And, you know, our pursuit of pleasure in the gap,
Yes.
and of course our avoidance or our resistance to pain, not realizing that the ego sends us searching for both because they serve an identical purpose.
I want to expound upon that because so if you're seeking pleasure, you're also seeking pain. If you're seeking comfort, you're also seeking discomfort. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy to think? So I'm also going to interview somebody who about semen retention this week as well. So the semen retention community, the men who have decided to not ejaculate on purpose, get out of watching porn, masturbation, orgasm, all that kind of stuff. They are deciding to no longer seek pleasure because something clicked in them, and they're like, I'm actually hurting myself. By pleasuring myself, it's actually hurting me. Many of these men have ego broke in them, but some of them are still stuck in that patterning and that conditioning. When you're seeking pleasure, you're seeking pain. Some people have woken up to this. Some people have stopped the cycle. Anybody who stopped drinking or stopped using drugs or stopped being a sex addict, like our good friend Aubrey Marcus, he's seeking pain. You look at people seeking pleasure and you're like, they're seeking pain. That's what makes it all so fucking crazy. You see? But when you know that when you're seeking pleasure, you're also seeking pain, you just start to be automatic about it. It's why you don't stay up late watching TV. It's why you don't pull up any adult materials anymore, because you know that the pleasure that you're seeking is actually pain that you're seeking. Now, well, Pat, oh, I can hear this now. I can hear this now. Well, Patrick, don't you think that what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with my life? Am I just supposed to sit here motionless like a statue, experiencing no joy or pleasure? No, don't be fucking ridiculous. But here's how this happens. If you let go your ego, work on your ego issues, and do shadow work, everything you do becomes pleasurable. You don't have to seek pleasure anymore. Pleasure just happens to you. The act of just being in your skin is pleasurable. You could watch a movie, you could watch a documentary, you could listen to classical music, you could listen to Nine Inch Nails, you could listen to a Concrete Shaman's AI song. And the song we're going to play at the end of this video is called Vicious Cycle. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. But everything becomes pleasurable. You can do anything you want. So, I talk about my husband's issues with video games. I've told him for years, like, if you can let go of the ego around this, you'll be able to play video games anytime you want. But for a while, it was... He had to really restrict his video game playing. When he wasn't able to play, he felt like he was missing out on something. He would have all these sorts of inner conflicts and arguments. I said, baby, when you decide to step out of ego, you'll be able to do anything you want. Anything you want. And it won't cause you any problems or won't cause you any pain. You can binge watch stuff and it won't affect you because it's not ego stuff. If you are no longer operating out of ego consciousness, things will not affect you anymore. But you can get sucked back into it if you hang out with egoic people, if you spend extended time listening to egoic garbage bullshit from influencers, it'll make you sick. And that's enough for me. That's enough for me. I like being well. I like being happy. I like feeling good. I don't like being irritable. That was very stupid of me to watch all that fucking content in 1 week. Because it fucking made me unconscious. It did. It did. I don't hang out with people like that anymore because it makes me sick. Well, they're sick too. It's just they're on so many fucking drugs and supplements and moisturizers and buffers that they don't realize how bad they actually feel. They don't see that. They don't recognize that. So when you know that all you have to do is let go of ego and no more ego issues and be really present, the pleasure it's just there. But it's a different kind of pleasure. It's not a numbing out pleasure. It's not a this feels good, man, pleasure. It's just I'm sitting here staring at a blank wall, sipping on a kombucha, and I don't have anywhere to be, nowhere to go, nobody to talk to. Not bored, not anxious. I'm just here. It's quite nice here. Don't need anything, not searching for anything, not wondering about anything. Just here. Just here. No arguments, no drama, no things to worry about. Everything's perfect. Everything's happening exactly the way that it should. That's life outside of ego. Someone calls you up and say, "Hey, do you want to go to dinner?" Sure. Where do you want to go? Doesn't matter. Pick a place. Mexican. All right, let's go. Life is so easy outside of ego. If you have complications in your life, it's due to ego. If you have drama in your life, it's due to ego. Why would you have drama and complications in your life? Nobody in their right mind would want drama and complications in their life. I know people personally right now who are going through very difficult times that are caused by their egos. I can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about it because it's ego and they're fighting for their egos. They are literally fighting to stay in toxic, dysfunctional, dangerous situations because they think that that's just the way life is. And that's not the way life is. That's the illusion of it. That's the craziness about it. That's how you look out into the world, and you know that people are delusional. Because if you know that you did not have to endure a dysfunctional situation for whatever reason, I don't care if there's kids involved or if there's money involved or whatever. No amount of money could make me endure some of the egoic shit that I got out of. I'm just not doing it. I don't hang out with ego obsessed people anymore or drug addicts. I don't want to. I'm happier being alone without my ego stuff going on than being with people for the privilege of interacting with other egos. My peace of mind is priceless. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. Let's go back to this video.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Pursuit of pleasure.
Right.
The avoidance of pain. Yeah.
They are
the identical purpose, and that purpose is to make the body real.
That's right.
Mm.
Yes. The special relationship is the golden goose within the gap, and it's the highest, most coveted symbol in the gap that says that that love is here, that there's something good.
Okay, so I if you want to watch this whole video all the way through without me interrupting, I'm gonna have a link to it in the description. So let me talk a little bit about the people who masturbate, those masturbators, and getting pleasure. That's the ego's way of making the body real. When you get sick, that's the ego's way of making the body real. So the very fact that I'm sick right now, or I don't feel well right now, is the ego's attempt to make me fall under the delusion again that the body that I inhabit is something real. It's not. It's not even who I really am. I'm a divine being in a human body, having a human experience that I chose to have, but I'm not the body. I am not this human body. Does that sound like word salad to you? I like the divine being in a human body, having a human experience I chose to have. That's me attempting to not be word salady about it. Now, this special relationship they talk about, like you meet somebody that you fall in love with, or 3 of them or 8 of them. That's the ego's attempt to make the body real, the seeking of that pleasure. Like, I's married now. That's that special relationship. And if you've fallen for that special relationship, you've fallen for the ego's delusions. You have become delusional. You think that the body is real. And the ego, if the ego can convince you that the body is real, if the ego can convince you that that pleasure is evidence that the body is real, then the ego has you by the balls. And then the ego will use every opportunity to try and kill you.
Here, that God's love isn't satisfying, but this is. And then Holy Spirit comes in and says, okay, well, let's take a look at that, and shines the light on this so-called love. And when we're really honest, we all have to come to admit that this isn't love at all. When you inspect what real love is and the nature of divine love, God's love, and in contrast to what you experience as in the special relationship, which is a fearful love, which is hate, scorekeeping and people pleasing and body objectification.
Good God, she goes pretty fucking hard, doesn't she? She goes pretty fucking hard. See how this ego shit will make you sick? So I'm gonna let me see. I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of people out there who are relationship coaches that actually hate each other. I mean, these people hate each other. They hate each other. When you see my special on Saturday, I don't know if it's going to be a 4-hour special. These people hate each other because they've fallen for that special relationship. They've fallen for that shit. Hook, line, and sinker. This is the epitome of egoic delusion right here. These are the poster children for the egoic delusion of special relationships. creating suffering in their lives, creating suffering in the lives of others. Pure ego.
Which is all fear, which is all guilt, which leads to death. Yeah. So just a closer, honest look at it.
Thank you, sis. So while we want to play the game of special relating,
Yes,
we want to imprison ourselves in the body.
we do. We think, yeah.
Imprison our partner.
Yes. Behold me, brother, at your hand I die. Yep.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Mm.
But it's true. And again, this is not popular teaching, but again, we need to see it. We can't awaken while we're still coveting something in the gap. We'll never awaken if we think that love is in the gap. And the only way out of that, you're not going to let go of your special relationships until you've experienced the holy relationship, a holy love, which is available to us here in the gap, right? It's a miraculous teaching means here in the dream to join with the brother to reverse the entire ego thought system and to experience the divinity of God's love, so that when special love comes and taps you on the shoulder to tempt you, it's like, oh, heck no. Now you know better.
So you might ask me, well, Patrick, are we just supposed to be single? Are we just supposed to be alone for the rest of our life? No. You can fall in love. You can get married. But you also know what that shit is all about too. I mean, the partnership that I have with my husband is a spiritual partnership. We're working on this shit together. We don't argue. We don't have drama in our lives. If we do have any arguments or drama, we know that it's the ego, that it's the pain body, usually through family interference. And so we don't have that special relationship. I don't stay up at night wondering where he is or what he's doing or anything like that, because we know that special relationship love is egoic love. Like you might look at us and say, oh, these guys are in love, and we are in love, but we also put that love in its proper place. We don't think it's the end all be all or reason for existence or anything like that. And in fact, because we don't have that egoic kind of love, we get along a lot better. We have more fun together. It's not so serious. It's not so heavy. It's relaxing. We actually enjoy each other's company. We're not clinging on to each other for dear life. We're not trying to get people to co-sign any weird relationship bullshit. What is it about these people and this special relationship bullshit that only creates suffering and causes suffering? It's because other egos, they want that special relationship. They want it. They think it defines them. It proves that the body is real. It proves that I am real. It proves that you are real. It don't prove jack shit. The special relationship is probably the largest source of pain. And if the ego can convince you that kind of love is real, then you miss out on true love. And what is true love? True love is when you don't cause suffering in the lives of those people that you love. Like these days, if people try to tell me that they love me while they're causing me a whole bunch of trouble, I'm like, you don't love me. Don't even say it. You don't love me, because you create suffering in your life and you attempt to create suffering in my life. That's not true love. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Hate. It's hate. It's hate. It's hate, I tell you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So basically, in order to know we're not a body at the very practical level, we have to learn to show up authentically.
Yes.
Okay, because you know what I found in my journey, and I've seen it with countless others as well, is that while we still relate through special relating, we are abandoning ourselves. We're betraying ourselves. Yeah. Okay. And then we're resenting others.
That's right.
Because their love changes and all that sort of thing.
Yes.
So, it's about learning to be honest and authentic radical self-honesty.
Mm.
And we're talking.
Now, she used the word radical. I'm going to try to not use the word radical anymore because it's overused. But and just being as completely honest with yourself as you possibly can. And, to go further into those special relationships, setting boundaries with people. If you have to set boundaries with people, that's because you had a special relationship with them at one point, or you might still have a special relationship with them. And so setting boundaries is very spiritual, because you're like, I know that there are some people who are really upset with me because I refuse to have a special relationship with them. I want to have a divine relationship with them. I want a relationship free of roles and expectations and rules and all that kind of stuff. I want to have pure divine relationship, but some people can't let go of the role of sister or the role of father or the role of family member. Like, let's just be divine beings with each other. And if people can't let go of that role, they get really pissed at me because I'm not going to have a special relationship with you. I'm not going to stoke that egoic flame. How could you, when you know that the ego wants you dead? How could you want it? No, that's why waking up to this shit changes you so completely. You almost become unrecognizable. People will paint you as a villain. They'll say you don't understand, but there's really no other way. Because a special relationship equals death. And of course you can have friends, you can have all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you can't really exclude other people either. But you don't have to be a doormat for other people's delusions as well. You don't.
Think about forgiveness. It's also about self-accountability,
Right.
for what we're perceiving, etc. So we've got to learn to show up in our relationships
Mm-hmm.
and to, make sure that what we think,
Mm-hmm.
what we feel, what we're saying, and what we're doing
It's an alignment.
in
Yeah.
alignment. Because most of us are thinking and feel what we're thinking, and what we're doing and saying is completely opposite to what we're feeling.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we blame it on the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'd if you put up with shit from people and you don't ever tell them, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, and you're just putting up with shit from and then finally you get upset, and it's not that other person's fault. Like if I gave somebody an example recently, like I used to carry cocaine with me. I would be in people's cars. I would be in their houses. I would just, bring these illegal drugs around them. And if anybody ever discovered that I had illegal drugs, they would get really upset with me. And they would say, how dare you bring this into my car? I'm like, relax. It's just a little coke. But I was putting them at risk, at legal risk, by having stuff in their house. Because if a cop were to come over to their house, I would have stashed that shit in their house. You see? I used to be a real bad egoic person. Like most egos, they don't give a fuck about who they hurt or who they destroy or who they cause to suffer. And that's why I say, when you know about this shit, you won't even fuck with it anymore. You would be like, what do I have to do to get out of this egoic labyrinth of never-ending pain and suffering? We're going to watch the rest of this video.
Oh, you gotta love it. And that's normal in the gap.
Well, that's the end of the video. But I do want to say, one of the things that really helped me in the early stages of this was to realize that if I am suffering in any way, shape, or form, chances are it's the ego. I understood from an early point that at the root of all human suffering is ego. And I started there. And I have good days and I have bad days. I'm not completely free of ego. I don't think anybody will be free of ego. But when you hear ass clowns talking about, you need an ego, we got to have an ego, that's the ego talking. Because the ego wants you dead. The ego wants to kill you. The ego is not even real. When you look at the machinations of ego, when you look at the schemes, when you understand the thought process of it, you just recognize it for what it is. Like they said in the video, you don't demonize it. You don't say, oh, ego is bad. Ego is bad. You just simply recognize that it's a delusional thought system. It's just a delusional thought system. And what can you do with a delusional thought system? Well, you can realize that you're delusional and then let it go. Easy peasy. It's actually not that hard. It's not that hard to change your mind. Let me give you an example. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Whatever you said. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Okay, tomorrow I'll have something different. Oh, you might have to go to the store and get new things and all that. You might have to cook some. But I know that you can have something different for breakfast tomorrow than you did today because it's a thought system. And once you know the mechanics of the ego thought system, you can just simply change your mind. The trouble is when you have to be around a lot of people. You might have to go to work. You may not be able to take a hermit mode like I've had the opportunity to take. You may not be able to do that. But at some point, everyone doing this work gets kind of sick of the ego shit. They just get kind of sick of it because they know it's the root of all human suffering. They know that it's behind every war, behind every conflict, behind every argument. And even though you may know some people that you love very much who are still wrapped up in ego, and sometimes you just have to say goodbye to those people. Sometimes you have to leave town. Sometimes you have to change your number, change your name. But are you going to choose death? Are you going to choose life? Because I've chosen life. And I would love it if everybody could choose life as well. If you'd like to get a copy of our book, The Machinations of Ego, please do so. It's available on our website right now. Get it, read it, wake the fuck up. It's at concreteshamans.com. And the song that we're going to be listening to today, a friend of mine that I worked with at the rehab, he gave me the lyrics to this song, and he said, can you guys do something with this poem that I wrote? So Merrick wrote some music for it. We did a version of ours on our last album, Shadows. We did a version of it, but we wanted a heavier version of this, like with really grinding guitars, like a heavy metal version of it. And it is called Vicious Cycle. The lyrics are written by our friend Jeff Benson. The music is written by us, the Concrete Shamans. And you realize that the ego will keep you in a vicious cycle until the ultimate goal is achieved. You are dead. That's what the ego wants for you. So did I make it crystal clear for you today? I sure hope so. I will see you for tomorrow's episode of the Shaman Patrick Show. I love you all. Mwah.
Vicious cycle round and round, turning, spinning, tight or wound. Something soon we'll have to give, close to nothing for to live. Try and stop the ears that ring, burning lungs and eyes that sting, crawling, itching, pulling thoughts, anchored in tighter knots. Stalking you at every turn, all consuming one concern. Vicious cycle round and round, turning, spinning, tight around. Something soon we'll have to give, close to nothing for to live. to feel its bite. Shouting loud, that restless voice justifies the easy choice. Quick to act and short to think. One track mind, it's off I slink. Sometimes I think it would be easier to let go. Some days I feel weaker, there's so much more to know. My salvation seems impossible and so far away. Can I be whole again someday? To come that one big hit, pain erased, can't feel a bit. Just one more is what you'll say, frazzled nerves and tooth decay. Days and weeks and months go by, friends and money short supply. 'Cause it's the vicious cycle, round and round, turning, spinning, tied around. Something soon will have to give, close to nothing for to live. Close to nothing for to live. Close to nothing for to live.